Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your first steps in Railcraft. To start off, you're going to need yourself a coke oven. To craft the coke oven, you're going to need 5 pieces of sand, 4 bricks, and that'll get you 1 coke oven brick. You're going to need 26 of these to make your first oven. To construct said oven, you start with your first layer is a 3x3 of the bricks. Your second layer is a 3x3 of the bricks with a hollow center, and then another 3x3 with a filled center. Give the game a moment to recognize that you've constructed it, and there's your first coke oven. Now, in your coke oven, you have 2 options. You can put a stack of wood, and you will get 16 creosote oil and 64 charcoal, or you can put a stack of coal, and you will get 64 coal coke and 32 creosote oil. You can use any of the woods. Next, also, you're going to want to construct for yourself a blast furnace. The blast furnace is constructed with blaze powder combined with slime balls to make magma cream, and then surround the magma cream with nether bricks and soul sand. Now, to construct it, it is built exactly the same way as the coke oven, only there are 2 layers in the middle that have a hole in the center. Then you put yourself a stack of iron ingots in the top and a stack of either charcoal or the coal coke into the bottom slot. An entire stack of coal coke will only get you 32 steel ingots. Now that you've got your steel, let's go over how to construct the basics. First of all, you're going to need a crowbar. This allows you to tear up your tracks and reorient them very easily. 3 iron ingots and 4 rose red dye. Next, we have the rolling machine. You're only going to need 1 of these. Now, you have 4 iron ingots, 4 pistons, and a crafting table. In order to construct your standard rail, you have 2 options. 6 iron ingots arranged like so will get you 8, or 6 steel ingots will get you 16. You're also going to need the high-speed rail tracks, which are 3 gold ingots, 3 blaze powder, and 3 steel ingots. Those are spendy. Also, the advanced rails, which require 3 gold ingots, 3 redstone, and 3 standard rails. Now that you've installed Railcraft, your standard rail construction recipes have changed. You're going to need some wooden ties, which is a creosote oil and 3 wooden slabs. You're also going to need some wooden rail beds. Ignore the name, it's not correct. 4 wooden ties will get you 1 wooden rail bed. A wooden rail bed with 6 standard rails around it will get you 16 tracks. In order to make your powered tracks, you're going to need 6 advanced rails around a wooden rail bed with a piece of redstone in the bottom. And to make your detector tracks, 6 pieces of standard rail, 1 pressure plate, 1 wooden rail bed, and 1 piece of redstone. Up first, we've got the boarding rail. Now notice the arrow pointing off in that direction. That is exactly how this works. If I get in this cart here and push the button, it's going to send me off in the direction of the arrow, and they're both going to do that. Now bear in mind, if I do this too quickly, you'll notice how it will spit me off the track. Like so. When provided with power, the boarding rail will ignore the minecart. Useful mechanic. Up next, we have the one-way track. With a pressure plate, a wooden rail bed, a piston, and 6 standard rails, you get the one-way track. Note the direction of the arrow. Now, when unpowered, this track does nothing. It acts like a normal piece of rail, and I can just go over it as I wish. Once provided with power, if I'm traveling in the direction of the arrow, again, nothing happens. But if I try to go the other way, it's going to bounce me back. I can't go backwards across that. Awesome. Next, we have the control track. The control track is 2 bits of redstone, 1 wooden rail bed, 2 advanced rails, and 4 standard rails. Now, the control track is basically a mini booster whose direction you can change. When provided with a redstone signal, it will propagate up to 14 blocks away and change the direction. This one's a fun track. Next, we have the holding track. Now, the holding track, if you will notice, has an arrow pointing in both directions, just like the boarding track, but 2 different arrows. The boarding track is very, very useful. Now, if I provide the boarding track with a redstone signal, it will shoot the cart off in the direction it arrived in. Very, very useful, especially since a lot of the Railcraft machines will emit a redstone current when they have finished their current task, making it very useful for holding a cart and then sending it on its way when it's finished whatever function it's waiting for. Up next, I've gone up onto the roof to show you the wonderful piston track. Now, if you right-click on one of these with a crowbar, you can adjust the force. It will go anywhere from 5 to 30, and I've got them set up at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. In order to construct one of these launcher tracks, you're going to need 4 standard rails, 2 blocks of iron, a piston, and 2 wooden rail beds. Now then, let's see what happens when I flip this switch. Fun stuff. We've also got the Junction Track, which is constructed with 1 wooden rail bed surrounded by 8 standard rails. I'm sure you can figure out what this one does. It's a very useful track, although it appears to have changed into a wooden one when I logged out. Entertaining! Avoiding the few bugs, this one will allow you to create some complicated rail systems without having to create unpleasant bridges. Just watch and make sure that your carts don't run into each other. Next, we've got the gated track. Using 2 fence gates, a wooden rail bed, and 6 standard rails, you get a wooden gate that, when either right-clicked on or provided with a redstone current, will open the gate. So 2 pressure pads here, and I can simply send the cart on through, and it will open and close the gate automatically. This is great for your farms and animal pens, because then they can't escape. Now, you've also got a different version that is the one-way gated. Now, this one is constructed in the same fashion, only you use 2 advanced rails. This one's direction can only be adjusted with the crowbar because the redstone signal opens and closes the gate, same as your fist. So you have to have a crowbar for this. And if I point it that direction, it's going to go through just fine. But if I try to send it the other way, it'll open the gate again, but it won't actually get through. Thank you for joining me. Come back next time where I'm going to go over the ins and outs of wooden tracks, high-speed tracks, and your various switches and electrical components in Railcraft.